What's coming off around here?
If you guys playing railroad anymore today, there's a landslide, a new cut.
I've begun the construction of the extension for the engine house, and these are the pieces that I've created to be able to start with. It's the tools I've used so far is this Alpha, this sanding stick, and this cutting board. I used the cutting board to create angles. You'll see that on here, you can see that there's an angle on the end of each side of this this is the upper frame part. And then there's two side frame parts, which both have been cut with angles on them to fit together. And this piece is salvaged from when the original wall was taken down. And this piece is going to be attached to the inside over on this right side of the cutaway to reinforce that so that we can build across from that. And what I'll plan next is to build out the sides and the front for the extension. So I'll go ahead and assemble the bracing for the cutaway now, and I'll show you what I've got. I completed the frame that goes around the cutout portion of the structure. These are the three pieces I'd shown before, but I wanted to show also, in addition to those, I added this large cross beam on the top beam. And I did that because once I started test fitting these pieces, the three pieces, I realized that for the overhead piece, it really needed some sort of additional support. So I cut out, it's the exact same dimension as this piece, except that it's turned on a different angle to have the long side facing out. And okay, so how that looks like this. See that? And the other thing I wanted to mention right now is that so I'm beginning this plan now for adding the extension to the building, and I want to use this material for the sides. I like it because it's embossed, on the plastic, so it has dimensions. But I don't like it because, it's way flexible. So it's going to need some kind of backing, I think. So I get it more rigid. I mean, on this model, you could see that it was more of a wood piece. This here was more of a wood piece that had certain rigidity. And then it was just stiffened by adding these verticals, which added a realistic look to it as well. But I'm going to need something on the back of this in order to give it a little strength, but not necessarily wood. I'm not sure yet. I got to think about it, but I'll show you when I get that figured out and I start cutting the side pieces. Well, getting ready to build the structure of the extension, and I wanted some kind of backing for this material, and I didn't have anything on hand. I went through my entire stock of stashed materials, and this is what was originally on this building. It was made with some kind of, it's really a nice hard, it's only 1/32 thick, and it's got a lot of stiffness to it. It's good. It's a good structure material, unlike wobble. That's not so good. So I was looking for something like this that I could back this with, and I really couldn't find anything at any of the local supplies normal stores that I would go to. So what I came up with was it's basswood, pardon me. I evidently like saying balsa wood for some reason, but this is basswood, and it's 1/16. It's not 1/32. So it's a little bit thicker than I wanted, and it's still soft, not like this material. Whatever this is it's really nice. So I don't know how to get that. I got this, and I'll make do with this too. This is it'll be fine. So what I what I'm going to do is bond. I'm going to, before I bond, I'm going to cut. So I'm going to start cutting the side pieces using this template. And I'm going to cut both the plastic, of course, and the basswood the same exact shape. Bond them together with my super glue, and then and then I'm going to tack some bracing on the inside of it, the same as we have the bracing here on this material. And hopefully it's going to look really nice and it'll work great. So we'll find out. It's a learning experience. And, you know, I keep reminding everybody I'm a newbie, so I'm learning as I go. So there you have it. I'll start cutting. Shadows can get rid of that. Hold on. Okay, I cut my pieces out for the sides, and I'll just use this super glue to attach them. So, So I need to sand the edges now to get them even. I guess the easiest way to do that is to just do the entire piece on there. Just stroke it like that. I don't want to take too much off. Nice thing about this the plastic is that it sands really nicely. It's soft enough where it just easily goes away. So we get this edges uniform. Oh yeah, get this one. Oh, it's very nice. Look at that. Okay, and it's nice and rigid. See that? Well, it's evidently the nature of model building that something is going to come up. And this is the case here. What I found was that, I'll use this. If you look at the square on this side of the building for the extension, you see it's fairly square. You know, you put that on there, it's straight up. Unfortunately, on this side, not so much. There's a gap. It's quite a noticeable gap. I think I can hide that with trim. And what's happening is that this side, even though I braced it to offset some of that curve that was going on, it's still too far in. It's got to come back out to about here. It should align directly with the edge of this foundation base baseboard. So, mat board, sorry. So there you go. I'm going to have to take these braces that I put here. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. These two braces right here. And I'm going to have to slice them off and move them over to push the wall farther out so that the wall is actually aligned with the edge of the foundation. So that when I do this, it'll actually be square. So I'm going ahead and cut out the rest of the pieces, and I created this will be the front. These are side placeholders. I'll get to that in a minute. And then of course I'm going to build some framing, and the framing will go across the top and the sides of the structure, including this piece is going to go up here. So the thing I just mentioned is that these are placeholders is because of an interesting thing I noticed as I was building this one. I went back and looked at these and suddenly came to realize that these side pieces are on upside down. Like the siding's supposed to go like that, not like that. So I've already peeled this one off, and I'm going to do that, recut these, and correct them so that they're facing in the right direction. So the other thing I've accomplished is that I moved these braces all out along the edge, so that now when the building is placed on the bracing, I don't know if I can get this to pop right on, but yeah. Okay, I gotta do it like this, get it out. There it is. Now, when it's put onto the bracing, I'm going to try to show you something here, is that the line that's going across here for the extension that demarks the back of the extension structure, but the line goes to the center of this upright as it does on both sides. So it's square now. So after a little tweaking and some correction, I'll be able to start the placement of the windows and doors and finish the framing. I've begun building the framework for the extension, and I've attached some of the framing directly to the side pieces, and I'm preparing to do that frame is going to be for the front piece of the extension, of course. And that one of the things I wanted to point out here was that I beveled the edges. I don't know if you can see that, but I beveled. I'll bring it over here a bit. There you go. I beveled these edges so that when I place the pieces together, that they won't look butted. They'll look almost seamless. You see that? I'll get it over there. Okay, there it is. And I've set the frame pieces up to these frame pieces that are here will go at the corners of the side pieces, and they'll be glued directly to the front piece like that. But we're not going to, that doesn't happen until after I've cut the windows and the doors on these three parts to the extension. So, because it's going to take a lot of force to cut through, and I don't want to mess the whole thing up because it was pre-assembled, and trying to cut it would be a disaster. So this is where I'm at, and should be able to share with you at least once I get the windows cut in. And while I'm talking about windows, let me quick show. This is the window assembly that I'm planning on using for the two windows that go in the end pieces. And this happens to be the same, excuse me, mister. This happens to be the same window assembly, or I should say part, that's on the ends of the two-stall engine house. So they'll match up. And of course, they look a bit naked here, but they get the same treatment that the engine house windows did, and that they'll be trimmed out. So they'll look just fine. I've assembled the main frame, which goes in the front, in this vicinity here. And I've also glued part of the frames to the side pieces. And I've marked the location of the window assembly so that the window cutouts will be placed in the same location. And what I did to accomplish that was I made this tool, and how it worked was I placed the window in the location I wanted it on top of this cardstock, and then I traced it onto here and cut it out. And this was aligned to the left side frame piece that was on the side piece, and of course then I traced that onto the side piece. And then to get it on the other one, I just flipped it over and again placed it against the frame that's attached to the side piece, and then I just traced it out. So now that leaves me with two window cutouts that I have to perform. And one other small thing, when I built this guy, I sized it to the front piece because that's where it's going to wind up. And I didn't really give it much thought. I didn't give it enough thought. There's a couple of things that appeared to me after I got done. One was that this upright must be shorter than the other by a little bit, because you can see there's excess material showing across the top. It doesn't fit when it's placed square on the bottom. So it may not matter. I'll probably just leave that alone, but there's something else I can't leave alone. This has to be inset a bit, because when the pieces go together like this, the frame is really it's really a support for the front and side piece, so it'll get pretty much glued to both pieces and keep them at a right angle and give them support. But when you do that, see that there's a bunch of the frame sticking out on this side, and it's not supposed to. And so what I'm going to have to do to fix that is I'm going to cut it back off here and here, shorten the main beam, and sorry, this main frame piece here, and then move these guys to the new location where it's cut off. So that'll take care of it. So the next thing I'd like to share is how I remove this material from the side piece. And obviously it's a bit too thick now to use just I don't want to use a blade on it. So what I'm going to wind up doing is drilling holes in the corners and then actually sawing it out, and then using a file and filing out the remaining square or rectangle, as you will, and make sure that as I file it out, I'll make sure that the window fits into it properly. Because the window really needs to be more or less flush with this, because I'm going to have to place some trim out here around where it was cut off. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll share my next accomplishments. So the window fits into the side frame like this. There you go. And the cutout I did primarily from the back, and as I said, I drilled the 4 holes and I sanded. I don't have the file, but I used the file to clean out the frame so that the window would fit in. And in order to show you how I did that, I'm going to follow up this little segment here with a high-speed flash through on me doing it to this one. Same thing. And I also started messing around with the workbench that goes inside. So I got some legs. I'm going to put it back here where you can see it, right? So I'm building legs for it. So there's that. This is the other set of legs. And I'm not sure how I'm going to brace it. This is going to fit into this section here. So I could brace it from the center back to the post right there. And I'll have to epoxy these because they're wood on, I guess, lead. Some people like to call it white metal. Well, we'll see how this one turns out. Should be an interesting flash through. Fast forward on that one. Well, I've completed the sides and I'm ready to do the front piece of the extension. And I'm not sure exactly, like the layout or selection of windows is certainly not fixed in my mind right now. I'm puzzling over, exactly what do I want to accomplish with this part of it. And I know for sure that this freight door will be placed in this location. The door itself, it seems to me to make most sense if the door is next to the freight door. I don't know if I can make it a little bit closer, perhaps maybe I make it, I have to be careful about the structure, but I think these two things probably will go here. And but the windows, now these windows, let's see, where did I put them? No, that's the doors. Sneaky, huh? They're hiding on me. Oh, of course. Here's the windows. The windows are from the Tichy Train Group, and these are like standard house windows, double hung kind of thing. Kind of nice. It's funny. I went to the hobby shop to buy these, and the gentleman who was selling them behind the counter, he gave me a look, and he said, "I make my own windows." Look at the tiny wiring you'd need to make these windows. I guess hats off to the gentleman. Holy cow! Well, one of the things about the product, I'll say, I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring it up a little closer. This is supposed to be the panes for the windows, and the plastic is discolored. And it's not just the windows here. It was all of the various windows that I have that have the same problem with this material. Whatever this is, it discolors. So you see that? Put it over here. Anyway, that's fine. I've got clear sections that I got elsewhere I can use for the window panes. So I don't know why the plastic would discolor like that, but it's certainly not something you'd want to use. Well, going back to this discussion about the windows themselves, though, I was thinking perhaps instead of using double hung, as you've just seen, this is the window assembly that's used for the side of the double stall engine house, and it would be something like that. But it doesn't feel right to me. I don't know. I'm looking at that, and it doesn't make it. It looks wrong. Why would they hang? I mean, I understand the ends. You want light, and I would probably like to have light. I mean, if I did something like this, perhaps that would be offering some light into the building. But this one just doesn't really, make it with me. And I've also got windows like this, which, I don't know, these look more like they should be the windows on the exterior of a Chinese restaurant and one of the local drive-through malls that I don't particularly like that look. And even if I did turn it to be a little tricky to turn, don't want to. But if I did that, I mean, it looks even more dumb. That looks like the entrance to a dentist's office. So I'll probably go with these windows, that double hung windows, to give it more of an office look. And I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm going to get this video wrapped here, and I'm going to put it up. And then, if you have an opinion and you want to share it, please do. Perhaps you can recommend some other windows that might look better. I'm a newbie, and I do appreciate any help or advice that I can be offered. And also I'm going to finish in the next video. I'll have this bench finished up, and I'll show you that as well. But I have in the next video also the roof to do. I've got a whole lot of repair work around this building to do. So there's plenty more action in the next video. We'll have lots to look at. So I continue to share my progress in transforming this two-stall engine house model into something that I'll be proud to put onto the Lehigh Valley Terminal Railroad. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. I enjoy sharing my success and failures with others, and I hope you found this one to be entertaining or perhaps even informative. But thank you very much for watching. I just heard that Dan Thorne, superintendent of the Lehigh Terminal Railroad, is out in the yard and he's having a discussion with one of the engineers. Let's listen in. Dan, I forgot to put a like in for this video.
Why, Tom, you ain't done for anything like that in 20 years.
Gee, Dan, I just forgot. It won't happen again.
Don't you let me see you around these yards? Go on, go on.
You know, Dan, he's gonna forget the light again. He's done it before.
He knows better than that. Why, I'd have to rule him off the road.
Wow, geez, I hope Tom never makes that mistake again. He's a valued engineer on the Terminal Railroad. It would be a shame to lose him.